Some people call this one of the weaker seasons of the show, and I would just like to know right now, what pot are you smoking? This is my favorite season of the show so far. It's darker, it's far more intense, the stakes are higher, and it ends on one of the best fights in the entire series. There's really not much else to complain about, as this perfectly continues off of Season 4, where Kreese gets kicked to the curb. Cobra Kai had won the All Valley tournament, and they are now planning on giant expansion, meaning that Daniel has to uphold his promise and shut down Miyagi-Do. However, he's not out of the fight yet, as Chosen, yes, Chosen comes back after being in Season 3, and he teams up with Daniel to try and end Silver and his reign once and for all. Yes, it is very long-winded, but it is as epic and badass as it sounds. Like, this is, in my opinion, the peak of this show up to this point. Like, Season 5 of Cobra Kai is amazing. I don't even know where to begin. So, please excuse me if this one's a bit more of a generalization rather than a full-on review, because so much of it is so good, but it's so hard to talk about without spoiling every single thing. So, I tried to put it in a generalization. So, let's dive into it, and what may just be my favorite entry in the entire Karate Kid franchise. No, that is no hyperbole. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your search for anything and everything animation, including insert tagline here, as well as TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to Kah-Rah-Tay May. Welcome to the penultimate chapter in Cobra Kai, with Cobra Kai Season 5. The final all-out war against Terry Silver for the good fate of karate. And honestly, the world, for that matter. Silver takes center stage after kicking Kreese to the curb at the end of Season 4. And he is a genuinely incredible villain. Like, he actually, not only does his cartooniness actually warrant its existence this time, and unlike Karate Kid 3 where he was just cringe, but also that he is a genuinely, intimidating, well-written, super complex, and extremely just badass villain. Like, this is the season that made me like Terry Silver, and I didn't think that was ever going to happen. But that goes to show the incredible effort and passion putting in to the show by every single person involved, legacy character or otherwise. Plus, the development of all those other characters is excellent in this season. So, there is a ton to talk about, so without further ado, here is my written review of Season 5 of Cobra Kai. While this isn't the final season of the entire series, it still manages to be conclusive in its own ways, as it represents the long-awaited final confrontation against Silver and his dreams of global domination, putting Daniel, Johnny, the students of Miyagi-Do, Tori, innocent kids in the Valley, and even both of Daniel's old rivals Chosen and Mike Barnes, yes, Mike Barnes comes back, through absolute hell, all leading up to one final brawl that will decide the fate of karate once and for all. Cobra Kai Season 5, despite starting off a little bit slow, is the strongest entry yet in both this show and the Karate Kid franchise as a whole. Everything here is as top-notch as it's ever been, while also skyrocketing the stakes higher than ever before, as the tone shifts both drastically and very darkly. Like, this is the season where half of it we see Daniel LaRusso in a downward spiral. Yeah, it gets that dark. All leading up to the best all-out brawl in the entire franchise, and how one character almost gets outright killed. Yeah, almost. They pussed out at the final minute, but they had me convinced for a while. Not only that, the fight itself was amazing. And this best all-out brawl in the entire franchise, yeah, it is amazing, dude. Like, it actually manages to top the school fight from Season 2, and even the LaRusso invasion fight from Season 3. Like, this season this final battle is amazing. However, as stated before, it does start off pretty slow in the first few episodes. It is going to take a while for it to get going, but once it gets going, it is unrelenting. Like, as Cody Leach puts it, this is a show that is very bingeable. This is a show that you can just watch back to back to back with every season and not get bored, which is a pretty good achievement in itself, seeing how both the MCU and even Invincible failed at it to a degree. Multiple storylines do end up battling for screen time, like you have the return of Mike Barnes, you have Silver's reign over Cobra Kai, you have Daniel's downward spiral, you have Johnny becoming a family man. Like, you have so many different storylines that are all just clashing with each other constantly. Like, they all get screen time, but it depends on how much screen time each gets. Some get less than others, and some get more than necessary. And that final scene is a very egregious ass pull that felt beyond forced. I'm not going to say why, I'm just going to say it brings back another villain from previous seasons for literally absolutely no reason. Because, spoiler alert, that villain, outside of one scene, does not do jack shit in the final season. Regardless of those small nitpicks, though, this is the best season yet. It gives conclusion to a 3-season-long arc, that being the rise and fall of Cobra Kai, continues to develop the characters, especially both Stingray and Chosen. Chosen is the highlight of this season. He is funny, he is awesome, he is incredibly endearing, and learning more about his character, not to mention hearing him interact with Johnny and Mike, is really, really cool. So yeah, Chosen's the highlight of the season. He is awesome. Kicks the action up another gear, and shows the highest of highs this franchise can reach when everything is firing on all cylinders. And again, people consider this one of the worst seasons of the show. I don't get it. Yes, it has some problems. Yes, it starts out slow. Yes, the storylines are battling for screen time, and yes, the final scene is an asshole. But once you get around all that, you are still left with an incredible season that brings the downfall of Cobra Kai into a very satisfactory conclusion. Honestly, if they ended it here, rather than having another season, it would have been as amazing of a final note as you could have gone out on. But no, Sony had to be Sony and started getting greedy. But before we get into that, final verdict for Cobra Kai Season 5, highest of the franchise and very well deserved 10 out of 10. Because my problems with it are literally just nitpicks. And even then, by episode 5, they all just fade into the background. Except that final scene. That final scene's bad. But the rest of it just fades into the background by episode 5. And once it kicks on all cylinders, it does not let up. Seriously, this season's amazing, dude. And how people call this one of the weakest of the show, I do not understand. This is the best of the show, in my opinion. So, how are they actually going to finish the show off with its final season? Well, in a very mixed, complicated way. Because, as I just stated, this is when Sony decided to start getting greedy. Because since Cobra Kai was such a huge hit, they decided to try and capitalize on it by having the final season not only be the longest season of the show, but also be split into 3 parts. And if you already heard my rants about Invincible on Facebook, you would know that I hate that strategy. Not only that, this season that we have to talk about next time also got royally screwed over, because at the same time as it was being filmed, Sony was also making another movie. And from what I've heard, that movie is terrible. We'll talk all about next time my complicated thoughts on Cobra Kai Season 6, the final season of the series. And why Sony cannot handle their IPs for crap anymore. See you then. Deciding for what comes up ahead. Hey.